Welcome to Brunettes Who Bitch, where the sports are hot, the takes are hotter, and we don't hold back because life's too short to sugarcoat anything.
All right, so for way too long, women in sports have had to fight for every bit of respect, recognition, and opportunity. And honestly, we're still fighting. Today, we're diving into the stories of the women who paved the way, the ones breaking barriers right now, and the ones who deserved way more credit than they can get. Whether it's on the field, in the front office, or behind the mic, women have changed the game. And of course, we got some takes, because if there's one thing we know, it's that the people still love to discredit women in sports. So let's get into it.
Let's highlight some moments in women's sports throughout history that, we all kind of feel are really important, but have been forgotten about or not even maybe common knowledge. First thing we're going to talk about is Babe Didrikson in 1932. It was a multi-event win at the 1932 Olympics and is the first ever Olympian to win numerous medals across throwing, jumping, and running events, and still to this day holds the gold in the 80-meter hurdle and javelin throw and the silver in the high jump. Pop off, queen! Next, we're going to talk about Wilma Rudolph, which in 1960, she won 3 gold medals in track and field, including setting world records in the 100 and 200 meter sprints. Could not be me. Once again, I say, pop off, queen. In 1967, Catherine Switzer was the first woman to finish the Boston Marathon. Good on her. I die after 5 kilometers.
But not even that. That was a brutal run for her.
Yeah, I believe it.
She was pushed, she was shoved, she was boxed in, she was even shoved off the track at one point.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, because it was only male run. She was literally she put in her name to the Boston Marathon as a male name, just so she can run and get a bib.
I was gonna say, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah.
That's
so
real.
Technically, it's like not her completing it, it's whatever her male alias name was completing the Boston Marathon.
Hey, but she did it.
Yeah.
And then in 1973, Billie Jean King defeated Bobby Riggs in the Battle of the Sexes tennis match.
So in 1991, Team USA won the first FIFA World Championship for women's soccer. Or
you don't call it
football.
FIFA?
I was going to say,
I do call it FIFA, but I feel like the first time it had to be FIFA. In 2017, Serena Williams defeated her own sister Venus in the Australian Open.
I thought that was pretty cool, I'm not going to lie.
It's actually very cool, and she's just a queen, so we love her.
Pop off, queen!
Pop off, queen!
In 2024, Caitlin Clark broke the men's and women's Division I NCAA scoring record.
Good for her.
Oh, pop off, queen!
There's a lot of controversy around that because there's another NCAA women's basketball player who is claiming to have scored more than her, but it was before the times of record books and statistics were ever recorded. So they're basically saying that, like, oh, she really didn't break it, and it turned into this whole big controversy because of it.
It's crazy.
And also, in 2024, Jessica Campbell was hired by the Seattle Kraken as the first female coach in the NHL. She's an assistant coach.
That's a major pop-off, queen.
That is.
I love her.
She's an icon, honestly.
She is a queen. So those are our highlighted moments. And obviously we will get into a little more details about things as we go on with our episode.
Okay, so we're going to do a little bit more of a deep dive into the actual history of women's sports. When did it start? When did it come about? So when I tell you I did a full-blown digging research as if I was doing a thesis paper, I did. I found articles from like the Georgia State University, reading articles of saying that like women's sports can go back even further as the Egyptian times due to illustrations that were found on temple walls. But back in the 1800s, women were encouraged to participate only in recreational sports of horseback riding and swimming. But then they were basically saying in the 1910s and 1930s, they said the concern of the effect of sports competition on women's health basically said, nah, they should not be involved in any kind of competition or record breaking or monetary gain type stuff. So thought that was kind of messed up in my opinion, but whatever. So basically, they're saying they should compete for the enjoyment of the sport and for character building. So anything involving competition, monetary gains of like pay, compensation, anything like that was not available to them at all. But then we get towards the year of World War II in the 40s. That's when women started seeing a little bit more opportunities because, you know, male were going overseas to fight in the war. And that's when the Baseball Hall of Fame comes into effect with this little blurb I'm going to come out where it says, did you know that women playing in the sport of baseball dates back to the 1860s? Vassar College in Poughkeepsie, New York fielded a team, and then 80 years later, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League was created, aka my favorite movie ever, A League of Their Own. And I was very excited to see that that's coming into effect here because that's probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I just had to put that in there. So this Girls Professional Baseball League began to play in 1943, and it lasted 12 years and gave 500 women the opportunity to that really never existed during that time frame for women, especially women in sports. So during that time, the first ever tryouts were held in 43 in Chicago, and it drew the attention of almost 300 women from the US and Canada. Star players would include Pepper. I am horrible at names, so don't come for me in the comment section for this. Paire. How do you think you would say that? Piari?
Pear?
Perry? Perry.
Pear? Perry?
Perry.
I have no idea.
So then Joanne Weaver and Effa Manley, who helped change the face of baseball during the Golden Age and is the first and only woman to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I did not know the Baseball Hall of Fame had a woman inductee, honestly, until now.
As they should.
Neither did I, actually.
Yeah, Baseball Hall of Fame page. Found it. But it's crazy. Like, I honestly wouldn't think that sports would date back to Egyptian times. Like, it was giving me like BC eras and all that stuff, and I think that was pretty crazy because I thought that women's sports basically started when Title IX was established. Or like at least participation in some sort of recreational sport.
So we all know that women have struggled with popularity in sporting events in contrast to men. This extends further out from like attendance and viewership because it is also unequal compensation, funding, and opens the door to discrimination and sexism. For example, this is a very popular scene that is known in the soccer world where the Women's World Cup in Australia, the president of the winning country congratulated one of the goal scorers with a kiss on the lips, unsolicited. That pisses me the fuck off. Because would you do that to a man?
Don't love that.
No. So for women in the Olympics, crazy as it sounds, but back then the Olympics did not approve of the participation of women until the 1900 Summer Olympics in Paris. But it wasn't until 2012 where each of the events featured female athletes in the Summer Olympics. And we know that women's sports started to advance in the early 2000s, but it still didn't stop the disparities of funding, pay, media coverage, and all that. And this is, of course, after the establishment of Title IX, which came into effect on June 23rd, 1972. This called for equal participation in sport, but never spoke about the other effects of coverage, pay, funding, etc. So with the brand deals like Caitlin Clark with State Farm and New Balance, Sabrina Ionescu with Nike, Urban Decay being the official sponsor of the Los Angeles Sparks, etc., the pay for women's sports has increased dramatically. I like that it's kind of like women-targeted brands that are like allowing for women's sports to pay more.
Yeah, like Urban Decay. I didn't know. Like, so usually like in the basketball jerseys, they wear their promotional like on their jersey. But I didn't realize that Urban Decay was the full sponsor, like actual sponsor. They've been a sponsor of them since I think like 2023. And it's crazy because like Nike also had that commercial for the Super Bowl that was all female dominated. Like it had Sha'Carri Richardson, who I am obsessed with, by the way. They had her, they had Sabrina, they had Caitlin Clark, they had I think they had Coco Jones on it. I don't remember. But they had other like Aja Wilson. They had a bunch of prominent players right now, and I thought that was my favorite commercial of the entire Super Bowl. I was like, wow, go off.
I think
Nike.
they still kind of play that pretty frequently, don't they? I feel like I've seen it a whole bunch.
Yeah, I've seen it like all over social media. I kind of still see it too playing on TV somewhere.
Now let's talk a little bit about I-9 sports. This also has a positive impact on the young girls' participation in sports. As of 2023, the rate of girls in sports has hit the highest rate since 2013. Sports offers not only physical benefits, but contributed significantly to overall well-being and success in various aspects of life. This recent influx of young female athletes has come from the success of other female athletes in all professional or collegiate organizations and gives the inspiration of the dream big mindset. This circles back to the increase in media coverage and social media posts as well, which assist in the heightened need of sports media. It's the idea of build it and they will come. Forbes put out an article in 2023 that broke down the coverage of women's sports. It's actually tripled in the last 5 years, which is absolutely incredible. Women's basketball led the way with 2,055 hours watched, followed by soccer with 1,835 hours watched. Wow, people watch a lot of hours of tennis at 1,810. That's a lot.
Dude, I was shocked by that too, but the next one surprised me even more, honestly. But not really.
Softball's at 1,392 and volleyball 1,001 hours, which is honestly, that's all like incredible. That's really good viewership for women. At the end of 2024 too, the viewership of women's sports increased by 18%. To make it funnier, half of the viewership reported were men, which I think is great. Thanks for your support, guys. The future of women's sports, with continued investment in grassroots programs and opportunities for girls in sports, will attribute to their most recent success and popularity rise, which I think is amazing. I love to see women's sports growing.
Yep.
It's crazy. I think because majority of those hours watched for college.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Which it kind of like, if people become like invested in college athletes and these college athletes go on to play professionally, I feel like people who watch that player in college are also going to go watch them play professionally. And that kind of like allows more viewership for women's sports professional wise.
And that brings in the whole Caitlin Clark effect, because now if you think about it, she's going back to Hawkeye Stadium with her professional team of the Indiana Fever to play a basketball game. Like, she's going to the stadium. She had her best college career of all freaking time. Her name is in the rafters. No one would ever wear 22 ever again in Iowa. And she's playing there in her professional team. And they sold out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would actually kill to see her play.
I'm a big fan of her. I've
Brunette's
never
trip
been
to go watch her play.
I know.
And she is, like, growing up for us, we didn't have women in sports to truly look up to. They were still paving the way, but it wasn't really heard of back 10 years ago or 5 years ago.
Like, if you had to pick, growing up, if you had to pick like a woman, female athlete that you look up to, could you think of one like that? Like in
Tessa Virtue.
Oh, good. There you go.
I was going to say Alex Morgan, the soccer player.
There you go.
I love
Which
her.
is
I think that's because, since me and Lauren are like, we got a couple years younger than you, we were growing up when like these women started paving the way, so it's easier for us to be like, oh yeah, this athlete.
No, which is good, because that also proves that as like time goes on, these athletes are getting more coverage, these more media time, stuff like that. Because for me, I really just had to think hard. I'm just like, who can I say? Because I like my bio back in college is like, who's your favorite athlete? I put freaking Mike Piazza, a basketball player, woman basketball player, put a baseball player.
I was gonna say the first female athlete that I would think of would be Serena Williams.
Yeah. But like, you didn't play tennis either, so it's kind of just like, oh.
Exactly. So why would I be like, oh, she's my inspiration?
Yeah.
Like, if you actually,
I didn't figure skate, but Tessa Virtue is
player, which is real. My favorite basketball player growing up was Vince Carter.
That's what a pick! That's a good one.
Love that.
That's why I'm a Nets fan.
Mine was Nate Robinson. I'm a Knicks fan. What are the odds?
But so, like, we didn't have Caitlin Clark, we didn't have Angel Reese, we didn't have Sabrina Ionescu. Like, we didn't have these people. That
we had the uprising Alex Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What I think is so cool is not to like talk about myself more, but I mean, it's not necessarily about myself. I went to school with these two girls. They're like twins, almost identical. You couldn't really tell them apart for the longest time. But they both, like, every sport they played, they were absolutely phenomenal at it. And so, like, I played soccer with them. I watched them play basketball, and now I'm watching them play, like, one of them plays for Rhode Island, and then the other plays for
Ooh,
the University of Albany.
that's
But it's,
cool.
like, so insane to see them posting, like, graphics and stuff of them, like, playing these
Mhm.
games. And I'm like, that's just so cool.
You know what sport that I really think that has come a long way? Because and then I also forgot to mention this. There's two key points of the sport of volleyball that I forgot to mention, like the timelines of like promable or like memorable women's sports topics. Nebraska selling out of a football stadium. Oh, thumbs up. Yep, thumbs up. Selling out of a football stadium. 92,003 people were recorded.
And 3. Don't forget those 3.
You can't forget the 3 people that actually made it. But that's the largest crowd to watch a women's sporting event in the United States. And then you have a professional volleyball league being created soon after.
The creation of the PWHL, but it should be talked about because it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was actually gonna say, like, with how when we were like, oh, like, can you think of a specific female athlete growing up, blah blah blah. It's gonna be so exciting to see, like, these young girls being like, oh my gosh, yeah, like Sarah Nurse, in the PWHL,
Yeah.
is, like, such an inspiration. Like, you within the last year alone have seen so many younger, like, young girls being like, oh my god, I love hockey because of these female athletes.
Yeah. If you notice, when we mentioned like the dream big type of quote, notice we mentioned college players who are professional athletes. And Caitlin Clark got her name from college. Sabrina got her name from college back in Oregon, but of course she's on Liberty and she just won a championship, so her name just kind of like heightened. But even then, like, people started looking up to these kids, whether it be a college football person, hockey, baseball, softball, basketball, whatever sport it may be. It will start in college, especially with kids getting more into sports now. They get to know the draft, they get to know who's going to be the first round pick for whatever it is. So now it's like these communities of local colleges, Division 1 to 3, NAIAs, they have an impact on these young kids as well. Because if you get like a group of 7th graders, they don't know the difference between Division 1 and 3. They don't know the difference.
What really sucks, though? You know what really sucks?
What?
The way that American sports is structured.
Oh, I'm so curious. Wait.
Better than the way that Canadian sports are structured.
Wait, explain that. I'm really curious.
Like, okay, so as far as I know, we don't have like D1, D2, D3 schools. A lot of people, like a lot of Canadians will actually, if they want to play college sports, will go to the States because it's just not the same here.
Mhm.
Like, we don't have these like crazy college schedules. Like, I know varsity like sports for universities are busy and it's crazy and they do travel quite a bit to play and everything, but it's nowhere near on the scale that it is for American sports. And I think, like, for me, when I was like a kid and I was looking at it, like, I wanted to play sports professionally. I wanted to be an athlete, and trying to like figure out how to go about that is so hard when you A, are from a small town, and then B, the sports structure just like isn't there as well as it is in the States. For basketball, at least. I mean, we have crazy structures for hockey. There's a lot of opportunities for hockey and everything like that, but when it comes to things like basketball or baseball, the structure just like isn't there, and it kind of sucks.
Interesting. Well, it does make a lot of sense because, like, from working in different colleges, I could tell you that I have a lot of kids from Ontario, Canada. Whether it be,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, like I have a lot of kids that are Canadian, and I think it's pretty cool.
I'm not surprised.
I think it's kind of pretty cool, but at the same time, it just makes a lot more sense now why they would come here. Because
9 times out of 10 Canadians end up playing for America. Like, I have a friend, her older sister played for an American school because she wanted to play basketball and she wanted to play like NCAA level because it's the only way. Realistically, that's the only way to take the step past college. It just isn't. The scouts aren't here. They don't come here.
Yeah, unless you're hockey.
Unless it's hockey. Hockey, they do. But for anything else, and especially for women's sports, they just don't.
Interesting. I always liked hearing like how that works because obviously we have a lot of international players, whether it be professional, college, or
Yeah.
whatever maybe. So I think it's kind of cool hearing like other places like structure when it comes to
Our
like
hockey structure
college
is fantastic.
Well,
Our
it makes a
hockey
lot of
structure is
sense
great.
because you guys are known for hockey. If you think of hockey, I automatically think like, all right, Canada. Like I don't know what it
like
is.
our hockey structures are great, but everything beyond that is not so great.
Times are changing.
I wish that it would have changed just a little bit sooner, but
My career path would have been completely different
Yeah.
had we had the opportunities that there are now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a
It
lot
just-
has changed. It's crazy.
yeah, it's getting there. It's getting better, but it's like we belong here too, and all y'all on Twitter that say that we don't, you can suck a cactus. Fuck all
Yeah.
of you.
One of my favorite things is I literally just keep bringing up my high school. It got to the point where for like field goals and stuff like that, they would bring a girl from the girls' soccer team and like put her on the team's roster just so she could take the field goal, like kick it.
See, that's cool. Wasn't there a Division 1 girl that did that? Was it like Purdue? I think Providence?
Might have been
My grade 11
Providence?
high school year, there was actually a girl who played on our high school football team. It was great. I loved it. She did it for
Mhm.
fun. She didn't even like really love football or anything. She just did it for fun.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. I loved it.
Was she like just like the kicker, like punter? Like what was her position?
No, she was like running. She was actually out there like on
Yo,
I
she
think
was
on
like a
off-
running back wide receiver type thing?
I think so, yeah.
That's funny. That's crazy though. I never like I seen like the girls be like kickers,
Like she wasn't kicking. She was actually like
punters.
running.
That's crazy. Good for her.
It was great. I loved it.
There's this one woman who sent the world record for a deadlift, for women's deadlift, conventional. Can you guess how much this woman lifted?
Is it in the 400s?
It's in the sixes.
Oh my
650.
fucking god.
Like
625.
641 pounds raw.
Wow.
And
This
she
woman,
deadlifted that?
she has the most insane setup for a deadlift. Like she kind of inspired me to like start deadlifting because I just love watching her setup because I think it's like the coolest thing ever. But Tamara Walcott literally is the world record holding powerlifter and strong woman, sorry. For the heaviest elephant bar deadlift for 641 pounds. Like
I can't
not
even lift
only
25 pounds without struggling.
but this is another
Right now, I
like,
can't even lift 10 pounds.
like this is like another woman who is also setting a barrier. When you go to the gym, you get a lot of freaking guys or even some girls too.
The
I know
gym
some girls,
bros.
but like some of the girls too. Some of these girls are more harsh than the guys, where they're like, you don't want to lift heavy. You're gonna get like you look like a man. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do like the whole basics of shit. But then you have this woman deadlifting 641 pounds, holding a world record, and basically just setting the standard of like, do it. Who gives a shit?
There's a lot of double standards when it comes to women versus men sports and women versus men in fan bases and all of the above. And I feel like we just need to kind of touch on it because, like, if you go on Twitter and you look up college basketball, anything, the men get praised and the women get belittled. And it's kind of the same trend. Not completely, but there's more of this trend than anything else. Or people are like, why are you watching women's sports? Or women's sports are boring. And I feel like Caitlin Clark really like blew that out of the water and was kind of like, yeah, no, like we're not boring. We're here. And it's changed a lot, but there's still so much that needs to be changed. And not only that, we have so many people who are dead set in their ways and don't want to change their mindsets about it, unfortunately. And I think that's where a lot of the problems come from.
Kind of bouncing off that, there's like a very big stigma around women's sports in that if people have it in their minds that it should be a men's sport, then it's a problem. Like, because you don't see people coming at women for being ice dancers. You don't see them coming at women for being in gymnastics or dance or whatever it is. It's as soon as they start to play hockey, as soon as they start to play basketball, as soon as they're on the baseball field, that everybody starts to get all up in arms and is like, you shouldn't be here, like go back to the kitchen, whatever the fuck they say.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite line ever is like, get back into the kitchen. Like, okay, I'll gladly do so after I do what I have to do. Like,
Or the whole you play like a girl trying to be an insult. When
You
it's
run like
not
a
an
girl, you
insult.
play
no,
like a
it's
girl,
like I
you
love
diss
playing like a girl.
One of the reasons why I admired Alex Morgan so much growing up was because she had this one quote where she was like, my coach told me I run like a girl, and I told him if he ran a little faster he could too. And I was like,
Ooh, I love it.
I was like, oh my god, that is the best thing I've ever heard. Like, I haven't like read that in years, but it resonated with me so much to the fact that it's been like a decade and a half.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I still remember it.
This also pins back into like social media and like people commenting and making stupid comments at that. So like it's not even just like commenting on like women's successes, because I'm seeing more positive about that now, but it's also not using the term rage baiting, but like drama baiting, like pinning one girl against the other. And I'm going more towards the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark dispute. Like these people are saying like Caitlin Clark sucks, Angel Reese is better, or saying like Angel Reese is stat padding, or she doesn't deserve anything, she doesn't deserve to be in the WNBA, or basically just trying to create drama between two girls who are literally living their best lives in the WNBA, making a name for themselves in their respective categories. And it's like, why pin themselves against each other? Like, cool, they had college drama because LSU and Iowa, I totally get it. But let it go. There's no reason for it.
So I'm going to explain that in men's hockey terms for Kate, because that's women's basketball that Kate doesn't watch.
Correct. Okay, fair.
Okay, so Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are two NCAA women's basketball / WNBA what the Jack Hughes and Capo Caco, whatever you want to call it, is.
Okay.
How they were pinning like Capo Caco and Jack Hughes against each other, and like they're rivals, they're on rivalry teams, but the two of them don't like, they're not feeding into that. It's the fans are doing it, and Devils fans are saying this, Rangers fans are saying this. That's kind of what happened with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, but it became this whole big like drama all over the internet. Like, this is why girls can't play sports because it becomes dramatic. Like, it was really a mess.
And basically like saying it literally turned two fan bases against each other. Like you have the Angel Reese fan base and the Caitlin Clark fan base because they were both up for like Rookie of the Year or something like that with the WNBA. Even though I feel like we all knew it was going to be Caitlin Clark by a landslide. Like that's just it.
Yeah.
But even then, like people were going in social media, commenting and like pinning these two girls against each other. And they both said, like, they both just like, I have no problem with the other. Granted, I understand Angel has said some questionable things on like media outlets. Like, I'm not going to deny. I'm not either. I'm not going to deny that she has said some questionable things where I'm just like, okay, girl, like you're digging your own grave. But that's when you can start bringing in the excess theories and conspiracies between the two. Don't just put them out there and create something out of nothing, which is usually what's going on, especially with women's sports, because people think it's all drama rather than a show.
Right. They like to say that women are emotional and pit that against us like it's a bad thing.
I was going to say, that almost makes it better. Like, if you put more emotion into a sport, you get more out of it.
People seem to love when men get on the ice and beat the shit out of each other for emotional reasons and whatever, when they show that side of them. So why can't women be emotional on the court too?
Ridiculous.
It's like when the Rangers and the Devils, like 2 seconds in, the puck drop, all three people like drop gloves.
Yeah. Exactly. They love when that happens. Like, they're okay with showing emotion then. So why can't women do it?
Yeah. I don't know.
Come at me.
But that's also like, but even then it's like you also get, let's say, the sport of softball. People can say like, I was shocked seeing the amount of hours that was actually watched, but I'm also saying like people are just like, you guys got a smaller field, like you can't hit a home run on like a regular field, blah blah blah. Like that's the point. Softball is meant to be a different sport to make it easier, not easier, but like more equipped for the female body. It is.
Basic science. The Sirens are struggling right now because they literally had to move from Long Island
Ugh.
where they played in Long Island last season, but they're playing in Prudential now.
Oh, that's good.
It's good, but it's bad because you lost your entire fan base that's all the way out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Touche.
So now
That's
they're
true.
in the process of rebuilding a fan base again. As
I
where
mean-
like other teams have these more full arenas.
That's hard.
It's
That's
hard,
hard.
but it's getting there. They have really good ratings, and I mean, I watch it when it's on. I've been to a game. They're fun.
I was gonna say I was
They're
like, you've been to a
interactive.
game, right?
I went to one this year and one last year as well. They're interactive. They're great with their fans, and they're just as fun as watching guys play hockey.
I'll say, like, what's the difference, let's say, game experience wise between like regular hockey and women's professional hockey? Like, what would you say is like the biggest difference?
Truly nothing.
Love that.
They're just as scrappy, if not
Yeah.
more scrappy.
Women tend to be more scrappy, I find. Like when I played, we were scrappy.
Mm. I
Just,
remember
just a little hip flick.
when
Yeah,
I
literally.
played soccer, I like people were so shocked because I was I was this small little girl, but I was taking down people twice my size because
Fuck
I
yeah.
knew how to like use my height and my body structure to like wedge myself at them a specific way and like
Yeah.
take them down. Like I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was skilled. But my male soccer coach in high school didn't see that.
And again, this is not to turn towards like sexism or anything like that. It's just because it's just the fact that you mentioned male soccer coach. My male high school coach was the one that literally yelled, "I sucked" in the middle of the court in front of my dean. And the next year, I went on to play college, and then I sucked horribly because I was like sick and I had no idea. And then my sophomore year, I get like the whole, "Oh, you're actually like in shape now, like crazy." I'm like, no, I was
You're
No,
just
I'm
healthy.
I was dying, like low key.
See, what I think is so funny is so when I was like in 7th grade, I think it was 7th grade, 8th grade, and then 9th and 10th, I had female coaches in soccer, and then I played basketball for like 2 years. 7th grade, I had girl coaches. 8th grade, I had a male coach. I didn't play basketball in 9th grade because something happened between 7th and 8th grade that I guess I just wasn't good enough afterwards. But anyways, so I like when I was in 7th through 10th grade, I was getting so much playtime in soccer to the point where like I would be going like almost the entire game. Like
Yo,
I
90
had
minutes is
very
nuts.
very minimal like break time on the bench when I was in middle school. But then I got onto the varsity team with the male coach, barely got any playtime. Barely. And then there was one time where I didn't get played at all in a game, and my mom, like she was like, "I'm not fucking with this." So she like went up to him and was like, "Why didn't you play her?" Like it would like you don't even have to play her for that long, just play her at least a little.
Especially
And
like when you're at the age of like high school, there's no
Yeah.
need to bench or not play somebody unless
Yeah.
it's like for a disciplinary
Yeah.
type motive.
The thing was like the game that I didn't even get to play in, we were already losing terribly at that point. So it was like, even if I did suck, what was the difference of putting me in or not? Like, put me in, let me play, let me get better. But apparently, like, he didn't want to do that. But it was funny because, like, my mom confronted him. And then, like, the next practice, he pulled me and, like, the 2 other girls that he didn't play aside. And he
Yeah.
literally straight up said to us, "There are 18 other girls on this team who are better than you." And I was like,
wow.
"Oh."
But
I was like,
it's also
"Oh."
crazy. Like, I had a really bad experience with a male coach in high school, but a male coach back in college just changed my perspective on everything.
I was just gonna say I was very, very lucky with the coaches that I had because I was coached by male coaches too, but they
Yeah.
were phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
they were absolutely amazing. I've never had a more like supportive coach.
So I know we're nearing the end, but before we do finish up and wrap up, I want to just touch base on how women are allowed to be sports fans. Because there's this whole stigma around women being fans of sports because athletes are good looking or this or that or whatever the case may be. And I feel like we need to just kind of talk about it because women can like sports simply for the sport.
Exactly.
Drives me bonkers. I should be able to watch the Devils and not be called a puck bunny for it just because we have Jack Hughes on our team.
Literally.
Name
And
5 players.
we literally said this in
Literally.
the Barn Burners episode. Ask literally any of us, and none of us, when asked who our favorite player on the Devils, is gonna say Jack Hughes. None of
I
us.
remember one time I was out at a bar and I had a guy come up to me and he started talking to me and whatever, and he asked me, I don't know, something about like if I like was into sports or whatever, and I said, yeah, like I'm a hockey fan, whatever. He asked what team I liked. I said New Jersey, and he said, oh, like it's because of Jack Hughes. And I went, actually, I listed the entire roster, their numbers, and like what position they played and everything. And he was like, okay, so I guess you're not like a bandwagoner. And I was like, no, and you shouldn't
No.
assume that just
Do you
because
think
I say I'm a
we
Devil
would
fan.
do you think we would willingly put ourselves through
Right?
being fans of this team just because we think the
Seriously.
players were hot?
Me
No.
and Sam have a fun story about a man in a sports bar in Texas.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
Oh no.
I forgot all about this story.
So did
Like,
I until she
you
said she was in
just-
a bar.
You just
That was,
unlocked a core memory that I remember. It was only us two there, and we were watching like the Final Four of the NCAAs. You have to tell this
I
story
just was,
because
like, triggered that night when like they say like, oh, like you're not a bandwagoner because I can name the players. No, I'm not a bandwagoner. I just like that team.
So,
Like
I don't know. There were a few of them. There was the one guy who was sitting next to me who was trying to talk to me about the Yankees, and he's like, "Oh, your favorite player is probably Derek Jeter," and I'm like, "Actually, he's not."
it's DJ, but okay.
It's distinctly DJ, but
But then there was another time there was like a bachelor party happening, and me and Ashley were sitting at the bar watching one of the games, and UNC was playing on the TV. So we were actually like talking about the game while having a drink. And this guy's like, it's like, who's playing right now? And we were like, UNC and like whoever they were playing at the time. I don't remember. This is also like how many years ago. And he was like, college? I go, clearly UNC. Yeah, like University of North Carolina. And he was just like, do you know the coach? I go, really? Like it was like he was clearly like obliterated, but like he just kept going on, just asking the most absurd questions, and Ashley just goes, stop answering. I go, okay, mom. And we just continue to watch the TV.
I was like, I can't do this.
It's so
But
ridiculous.
what was another story? Like there is one there that really like
There was that one. There was the guy. Me and you were eating dinner at the bar because we couldn't get the table, and he sat next to me, and we're
Oh!
watching the Yankee game.
Yep.
And he's
Yep.
like, "Oh, Derek Jeter," and I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, you're probably too young to remember when they were good." And I'm like, "Dude, is this? We're not having this conversation." Like, I hate the whole name 5 players. I hate the whole. What was the coach's sister's mother's name from the 2002
My favorite
teams?
is when they go,
roster?
give me like the stats from 4 years ago. I'm like, do I really
You give me
care?
the stats from 4 years
You
ago,
give me the
bitch.
stats. Do you know
My,
the
like,
stats?
I hate that women have to like go to certain lengths
Justify.
to justify being a fan.
Yeah.
Like
It's like we constantly have to prove that we belong here, and it's not
Yeah.
fair.
I experience it now while I'm at work. So what I do at work is like a part of my job responsibility is doing game day statistics for all the sports that we have, right? So I just learned football this year. I knew football, but the stats of football couldn't even freaking tell you what went into it until this season. I wanted to shoot myself. But anyway, I have like a lot of these like older men who we just like bring in for like PA or just to help or whatever, they would look at me, they'll just be like, "Oh, so what do you do here?" It's like, "Oh, I'm doing the stats." They're like, you know the sports?" I'm like, "I have no choice but to know the sports." Like, "But do you know, let's say for example, this happened like a couple years ago, like, you know men's lacrosse?" I go, "Not really, but I had to learn it, so here I am." And I knew pretty much the entire rules and regulations of men's lacrosse. And he's like, "That's impressive." I go, "Thanks
See,
for doing my
it
job."
shouldn't be impressive though. Off the wall. It shouldn't be impressive because women are allowed to know it just as much as men are, and it wouldn't be
Mhm.
impressive if a guy knew it.
Yeah. But
One
like
of
I will
my-
say, I'm impressed by Matt speaking football because he just predicts things before it comes out of his mouth. Okay, I'm sorry, Katie, go ahead.
No, you're good. I have so many different things that I want to say, so I'm like just they're all coming to my mind. But one of the things I was gonna say was so it kind of sucks being like a fan and then like men in the same fan base as you like ridicule you for it too,
Mhm.
because you like you would
Mhm.
expect like other teams fan bases to be like, oh, you only like the players because they're hot, but the people who are in the same fan base also like being that way, you're like, aren't we supposed to be like in this together? I don't know, but
That's
it
so
makes
valid.
me think about how I have a coworker who is like twice my age who is a Devils fan, and I try to talk to him about Devils related stuff, but I'll like start listing off these specific players and he'll be like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Oh, you name 5 players." Like why do I like the girl who only watches the sport because I think the players are hot know more about your favorite team than you do?
My favorite is when you can start talking prospects and they're like, "Oh, like I didn't even know
And
who
they're
that
like, "Who the
was."
fuck is that?" It's
But
so funny because it's one of the coworkers that I have that is also a hockey fan is also a Rangers fan. And he has so much more respect for me than
yeah.
than the Devils fan coworker that I have. Like me and my coworker that is a Rangers fan are constantly talking about hockey. Like when something happens in the hockey world, like and we're at work, we immediately go to each other. Like when the
You'll
Capo
get
Caco trade happened, I literally sprinted into the kitchen. I was like, "Oh my god, you'll never guess what happened." He was like, "What?" And I go, "They just traded Capo to Seattle." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." But
like that
he
also like it depends because you get some guys who are just like that who I
yeah,
can talk about sports every single day with, but then you
yeah,
also have the people who are annoying and then they make these stupid comments when they shouldn't.
yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like it's so exhausting half the time because like
Mhm.
why are we not allowed to be fans of sports?
I just wish that like everybody, men especially because they're very bad for it. I just wish that they would like judge everybody, men and women that are in sports, based on their qualifications and their actual ability to be able to talk about sports, to know about sports, like to whatever. It shouldn't
Mhm.
matter that I got boobs on my chest
No,
and they
but
have a dick between their legs.
period.
Like it should
No.
not
Well, that's
matter.
the way to put it.
Then you watch like the other part of that is like, okay, so girls can't exist in the fan base. Girls can't exist in the job like world because of it. And then you have women who exist in the fan base in the job world and they're constantly trying to prove that they belong there, so they can't do their jobs properly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because you have to be so careful about what you say because if you say something phrased a specific way, you
Yeah.
immediately get ridiculed for it.
I ridicule Jack Hughes. We all
Yeah.
know that I ridicule Jack Hughes.
Yeah.
I hold Jack Hughes to a higher standard, and I know that I do.
Yeah.
And if I tweet something even like remotely nasty about him, I have all of
Immediately
these
attacked.
men in my replies telling me
They're
that
brutal.
I'm a puck bunny, and all of these other things. And I'm like, because I'm holding Jack Hughes to a higher standard than the hockey that he's
Yeah.
playing right now?
Even if you just mention a player on your team as a woman, you get called a puck bunny or a jersey chaser or whatever the fuck it is for different sports.
So
I will say,
It doesn't even matter the context. Like, do we all remember like a year ago when I, made a joke because of that one picture of Jack and Nico at the awards when I was like, oh, you can't tell me that when they were drunk they didn't, give each other a smooch at least once in their life. And then somebody was like, oh my god, you're such a puck bunny. And I'm like, how? How am I like I'm literally talking about like joking about them giving each other a smooch. How am I like it doesn't make any sense.
Wait. So my favorite story going to a sporting event, this actually happened maybe a couple years ago. And I was at a Mets game. Oh, crazy. And so baseball positioning. So like who doesn't know baseball? I forgot.
Kate,
Someone?
I mean,
Okay.
Lauren doesn't know much of
So
it either.
let's just talk about like the positions of baseball, right? You have 9 people on the field that includes a pitcher. So it's like the pitcher's 1, catcher's 2, first base 3, second base 4, third base is 5, shortstop is 6, and then 7, 8, 9 is the outfield.
Okay,
right?
I knew that.
Okay. So my favorite story is I'm sitting watching the game. Frickin' there were like Cespedes this is how you know how long ago it was when Cespedes was on the team, by the way, Ashley. So a ball gets hit into left field, right? So I repeat, that's 7. And this is a kid, grown man behind me, is yelling, E9, like an error, like because that's supposed to like bobble the ball, like how Judge did in the World Series. But okay.
We're back to the shade.
So, but like it's error, like it's an error. So it has to go down as an E9 or the E of the number who commits the error. So they were yelling E9. And I looked to my friend that I was sitting with and I'm like, can I turn around and say that it's not E9? And she's like, why? Like, what's the point? He's drunk. I was like, I don't care. It's bugging me out that he's literally yelling the wrong position when it's in left field. So he kept saying, this guy can't play in left field. Da, da, da. So he knew where it was. So I turned around. I was like, 7. He's like, what? I was like, it's E7. He goes, that's what I said. I go, nope. And then turned back around and he was just like dumbfounded the entire time.
Oh, I love to correct men when they're wrong.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That was like at the Four Nations game. Me and Abby were sitting like next to these people, like blah blah blah. They were talking about all these players. And at one point they were like, oh, like when did they put so and so in? And I was like, a long time ago. Like, are you even paying attention to the game?
I don't know. In Buffalo, it was me.
I was gonna say it was the Buffalo game. The people behind us were talking about,
and I literally, I don't even know what they were talking about. But I turned around, I was literally like, "Huh?"
Oh, it was when Jack was on the penalty kill. They were like, "Oh, like when did he start going on that?" And we were like a month ago or so. Like this isn't brand new. Like yeah, it's like new this season, but like he hasn't like not been on it within the past like 2 weeks.
I do. I like live to correct people.
Yeah,
you do.
But I did also have like a similar experience at the Four Nations game. We were literally sitting there watching warm-ups. And well, it was right before warm-ups, and a couple of the players were out on the bench, and I go, "Oh my gosh, is that Adam Fox?" And like some guy turned to me like fully after me and Abby had just been talking about the Devils. And they were like, Adam Fox, like how the fuck do you know that that's Adam Fox? And I'm like, well, I'm not stupid. Like I know what these players look like. Like I know where every single player on this team plays for in the regular season.
We have a woman's historical moment that happened, but in the world of NASCAR.
Oh, that makes me
first woman in 7 years to compete in a NASCAR Cup Series, and her name is Catherine Legg.
Oh, we love that.
I love it.
But before I even like knew about NASCAR and like racing and all that, I just remember seeing like things about Danica Patrick and being like, "Oh my god, she's one of the best racers of all time." I didn't know. I didn't watch it. So I don't actually know any of her stats. I just knew that she was a woman racing in a
She was really good. Danica was really good.
I actually came across like training for it. So I didn't think you needed to actually train for NASCAR driving. I thought you just had to like, drive, like
Get in the car and go.
simulations. Yeah. No, these people, like I saw a woman training for it. She literally had a strap around her head and someone was pulling it and she was like pulling
Yeah.
backwards. She had to
Yeah.
do core movements, breathing exercises. I'm sitting here,
You
I'm like,
rattle in that car so much. Like, it's
yeah.
crazy.
And I didn't realize like what really went into it. And the video was like, what is she training for? And after her like 3 workout videos, it showed her getting into a car, like the NASCAR car or like a race car. And I thought that was like the coolest thing ever because I'm sitting here, I'm like, what really is she training for? Because I have no idea. I loved it though.
Yeah.
It's so good. I love it. Go women. Pop off, queens.
Yeah.
You
I love
belong in here just as
women.
much as men do.
Happy Women's History Month.
Real.
Women belong in sports. Women belong literally wherever men are.
Women belong wherever they want to belong.
Yeah. Sometimes they belong in places that men aren't. I don't want to see
Period.
more men places. I want to see more women. Show me the women.
Real.
Show
Real.
me the women.
So the fight for women in sports is nowhere near over, but damn, we've come a long way. I'm proud of us. From legends who changed the game to the women still pushing boundaries today, the impact is undeniable. So next time someone tries to tell you no one cares about women's sports, hit them with the facts. Or just tell them to shut the fuck up. That's my preferred method, but
Period.
either works.
Period.
Thanks for listening to Brunettes Who Bitch. See you next time for more unfiltered takes and probably some more sports rage. Bye.
All right, fine.